back like
Joe
you
Biden
did. And so
took
that's the question.
1,850 boxes.
But that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
you
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to, you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, we are looking at possibly, perhaps the most transformative president in the history of this country. And I say that not to be hyperbolic, but I say that because I believe that's what his goal is. When you look at how Donald Trump moves, when you look at what Donald Trump admires, what Donald Trump respects, you have to see it in a certain way. You have to put yourself in his shoes, view it from his point of view, look through his lens, and you'll see that Donald Trump doesn't just want to be a great president. He wants to be the greatest president, and that's why he does things that other presidents have not done. And you look at his recent history. He's only been president for less than a month now. And you say, well, no other president has gone to the Super Bowl. Well, he says, I'll do that. He says, well, no other president has done a flyover of the Daytona 500 at 800 feet in Air Force One. Oh, I'll do that. Matter of fact, you know what else I'll do? I'll take my little grandbaby out here in her little Dorothy red slippers, and we'll go get off in the Beast. We'll do a couple laps and we'll start it off. This man is a transformative figure such that he doesn't just want to be great. He wants to be the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And I think that he is on track. Hey, he's already number 45 and number 47. He's only got one person in competition in that category. So all he got to do is beat out one and say, hey, I'm a two-term president with a gap in the middle, just like that person. But he didn't do this, and he didn't do this, and he didn't do this. Well, Donald Trump is a unique figure, no doubt. But one of the unique things about him, y'all, is that he ain't scared to clap back. Even as he makes these unique treks through what will become the books of history. This man, he is who he is, y'all. Poor little rich kid who's now approaching 80. You're not going to change him. You're not going to fix him. It is what it is, and we voted for it because we knew what we could expect from it. And here we go, y'all. Not only do we get Doge, but we get a nice little dose of petty. Yeah, that's what we expect from a guy like Donald Trump. If you followed his history, you know Donald Trump don't take no mess, and he give it out as good as he takes it from all of y'all liberals who want to throw him under the bus. Looks like he got a bus of his own, or maybe a garbage truck. Y'all, let's get into this video and see how Donald Trump is bashing this CNN reporter who thinks she's up to the task.
It's back like
Joe
you
Biden
did. And so
took
that's the question.
1,850 boxes.
But that's the question that investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
you
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
Ooh.
It's very simple to, you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
Nasty.
Answer
Very
why you
simple.
held on to the documents?
I was negotiating and we were talking to NARA.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mr. President, you won the White House in part because of high inflation. If your tariffs make prices go up,
Excuse me, we haven't asked you to speak yet, please. Right?
Excuse me, we ain't asked you to say nothing. Ain't nobody called on you. Shut your mouth.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
you won the White
Go
House
ahead.
in part.
Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, you are meeting Prime Minister Modi of India this
Yes.
afternoon. What kind of trade and tariff relations you would like to have with India, and what's the vision for India?
Well, yeah, India traditionally is the highest, just about the highest.
And I think the refugee crisis is the new normal. And George Soros.
Now, if y'all remember, Caitlin Collins used to work for Fox News. And somewhere along the line, seems like she lost her way, or maybe found her way, as it were. But this is the thing I hate about most journalists, because they have no allegiance to either side, right, left, or in between. No, they are beholden to the corporate structure that pays their bills. And they seem to say or parrot any talking points given to them by whatever network pays them at that time. So you see people like this shift from left to right or right to left. She was once with Fox, now she's with CNN doing their bidding, and boy, what a fall from grace as you try to become the next Jim Acosta and buck up against Donald Trump. Did you see how it worked out for Jim? Maybe you've learned nothing in the process, but it's going to work out even worse for you, because Donald Trump 47 is not the same as Donald Trump 45. Oh, you going to find out. Caitlin Collins.
Is this guy who is a staunch advocate for open borders. He wants people to be able to go wherever they want, whenever they want, for whatever reason. And for him, he sees this immigration policy, this crisis, as a vehicle to further his immigration agenda.
Which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night?
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary.
True.
And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the president of the United States questions. That's
True.
an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus. Many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the president questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office. And you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
But isn't it retaliatory in nature is the argument, because the reason that the AP was barred, which they said was because they're not using the phrase Gulf of America, they're using Gulf of Mexico in line with their standards. And so the question here is this setting a precedent that this White House will retaliate against reporters who don't use the language that you guys believe reporters should use? And how does that align with the First Amendment commitment that you were just talking about?
I was very upfront in my briefing on day one that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that, but that is what it is. The Secretary of Interior has made that the official designation in the geographical identification name server, and Apple has recognized that. Google has recognized that. Pretty much every other outlet in this room has recognized that body of water as the Gulf of America. And it's very important to this administration that we get that right, not just for people here at home, but also for the rest of the world.
Do y'all understand the smackdown that is going on before your eyes? This woman is such a troll. She tried to stand up for the Associated Press. Girl, you work for CNN. What are you doing? You trying to take up for your allies out here in these left-wing media streets and say, hey, well, I heard you banned them from the Oval Office because they refused to acknowledge the Gulf of America. And she got smacked down from the press secretary, Miss Levitt, who is really putting it down, doing a great job, unlike the previous press secretary, who was the worst in my lifetime. But we're seeing a difference in this entire administration. And here we are with Caitlin Collins, who wants to come out here and make herself the subject of the narrative, wants to make herself the modern day Jim Acosta, wants to put herself as part of the story in every narrative. She got to stick her nose off in other folks' business and got smacked down not only by the president, but by the president's press secretary, who is the president's messenger.
On your cabinet, sir, we saw Robert F. Kennedy Jr. get confirmed. He's going to come in here and be sworn in. Mitch McConnell has now voted against several of your nominees. He voted against RFK Jr. as the next health secretary, citing conspiracy theories. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I feel sorry for Mitch. And I was one of the people that he wanted to go to the end and he wanted to stay leader. He's not equipped mentally. He wasn't equipped 10 years ago mentally, in my opinion. He let the Republican Party go to hell. If I didn't come along, the Republican Party wouldn't even exist right now. Mitch McConnell never really had it. He had an ability to raise money because of his position as leader, which anybody could do. You could do it even. And that's saying a lot. But the fact is that he raised money and he gave a lot of money to Senate.
Y'all, did you see the brother's face? Oh, brother, don't look at the camera, bro. Bruh, don't look at the camera. Don't smile at the camera. Look, this is just an audio guy. Look at what he's doing. He's holding a boom pole out, y'all, with a microphone on the end of it. His job is just to capture audio for whatever network he works for. And he caught that in his ears, just as I caught it in mine. Oh my goodness. Did Donald Trump just smack down this reporter like that? Yes, he did, bro. We want you to stay employed. We want you to have a job. We want you to be able to pay your bills and be fruitful in this economy. Don't look at the camera. Don't smile at us. Pretend you didn't hear that.
And so he had a little loyalty based on the fact that as leader, you could raise a lot of money.
Speaking of that, this is another notable media moment that took place yesterday between Donald Trump and CNN's Caitlin Collins in the Oval Office. Listen to this.
Mr. President, you won the White House in part because of high inflation. If your tariffs make prices
Excuse me, we haven't asked you to speak yet, please. Right?
This should have never been allowed to happen. I know he's a friend of yours.
But couldn't Putin just withdraw his?
He's a friend of
today?
CNN.
Yeah, and the notable part of that, Joe, to me, wasn't Donald Trump saying that Joe Biden is a friend of CNN and Caitlin Collins. It's the fact that the time that she chose to speak out, it was before she was called upon.
Yes.
I believe there is decorum when you're in the Oval Office meeting with the president.
Protocol.
And there is a time to speak, and she sort of chose to violate that.
And Caitlin Collins should know that because she was a White House correspondent during the first Trump term. And then Joe Biden comes into office, and suddenly she couldn't run from that room fast enough. But now she's back to hold the powerful accountable because Trump is back in. She's there to make herself the story. She is a recycled version of Jim Acosta.
100%.
Look at me. No other reporter there jumped in to ask a question. Only Caitlin Collins did because CNN wants to be a part of the story because that's worked so well for CNN to this point. Here's what I know. Since 4 years ago, this time in 2021, CNN's primetime ratings, which include Caitlin Collins' show, is down 85% from that time. No one trusts that network anymore, to Trump's point.
Well, this is quite a story we have for you. This just out. It was a photo that was taken yesterday in the Oval Office. So zoomed out, it just looks like an ordinary photo, right? You see the president there with Modi, the Secretary of State, just a meeting. But when you zoom in into that door, what you see captured in that red circle is the mugshot of President Trump. Now, this is a rather interesting place. This is called Outer Oval. This is where pretty much every guest, with few exceptions, walks through. And to the left, you see the top of a grandfather mahogany clock. And then you walk into the Oval Office, meaning just about every guest, with few exceptions, some enter the Roosevelt Room, will walk past the Fulton County mugshot of President Donald.
Y'all, he didn't just post his mugshot. He framed it in gold. This is the man who have gold faucets, gold toilets in his mansions. He has an affinity for gold, and he put gold around his mugshot. What does that say about 47?
J. Trump. How is that for irony? You know, Tommy, I look at this, and there's so much symbolism here. Because Democrats tried to destroy this man, and that photo captures that endeavor. They did not destroy him. He is hanging up the photo in Outer Oval that Democrats in Congress, senators, will have to walk by when they meet President Trump in the Oval Office.
He's trolling the trolls, and it's so epic.
Yes.
I love it so much. But I think it's also not even just for him a sign of resilience, but for the American people as well. That was a turning point, that mugshot. There's a reason he was so proud of it. He didn't look at it like you typically look at a mugshot. He looked at it like a badge of honor. He marketed it. It was a big moment for him in a campaign season of so many moments. But it is also indicative to the American people. So many that have felt beat down, that have felt run down, that have felt stepped on and squashed by this behemoth that is the federal government. This is also a picture for them, reminding them, hey, look at all the things that Donald Trump went through. I can get through it too. He has an army of people behind him. Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. And that's symbolic in that photo. I think it's beautiful. I think it's great. And I'm so glad he put it there. What a reminder.
Not only have we never had a U.S. president with a mugshot, I'm not sure we've ever had a mugshot hanging outside of the Oval Office before.
Never.
But that is where President Trump has placed his from when he was indicted in Fulton County, Georgia, for his efforts to overturn the election. We learned a few days ago he has a framed cover of the New York Post with his mugshot just outside the Oval Office in what is known as the Outer Oval.
Yes.
And we discovered this when he was greeting the Indian Prime Minister. They were seated in chairs in front of the fireplace in the Oval. But just over the shoulder of his chief of staff, Susie Wiles,
you can see the president's mugshot there as he has it framed. His aide and person who is his social media guru, really, Dan Scavino, posted a video of it saying, "Happy Valentine's Day" from the beautiful Oval Office. This has really become a rallying cry that Trump has used on the campaign trail. They've even put it on merch and sold it featuring his mugshot. And now it has a home outside the Oval Office as well.
And there you have it, y'all. Your best bet. If you're a Donald Trump hater, your best bet is to have a seat somewhere and be quiet. Put a little tape on your mouth, sit on your hands, do whatever you got to do to leave this man alone, because his pettiness is unrivaled in modern times. A man that would take a mugshot of himself and make a symbol out of it. Not only a symbol for himself personally, but a symbol of American history. Y'all, this will go down in the books as one of the most notable photos in American history. Not only did you drag me down there to Fulton County and do this to me and fingerprint me and book me, you took my photo to try to embarrass me and shame me and destroy me. But it didn't work. So now this very picture that you tried to use to destroy me is a symbol of survival. It is a symbol of your failure. It is a symbol of your ineffectiveness. You couldn't get it done. You couldn't complete the task. You couldn't destroy me. And just like that, the left could not destroy America. Oh, yes, they tried. Yes, they did. But it didn't work. So here we are, and he says, I'm going to take this photo, this symbol, and I'm going to hang it outside the Oval Office so that everyone who enters this space will have to see it, will have to gaze upon it, will have to recognize it and understand that they couldn't stop the man. Any other man would have folded under the pressure. But this here president, number 47, who is stronger than 45, who is better than 45, who is more adept than 45. I guess some people have to learn the hard way, y'all. 47 ain't 45. 47 is saying, I will hang this outside of the door of my office as a symbol so that you have to recognize not only my greatness, but your failure, your inability to stop me. Not just by trying to arrest me, not just trying to sue me into bankruptcy, not just trying to break me financially, not just trying to take all of my real estate assets, not just all of that, but everything put together. A weaker man would have folded under the circumstances, but I, 47, nah. But I need a symbol. I need something to symbolize my success. I need something to symbolize my perseverance. I need something to symbolize my winning and winning and winning. Y'all sick of winning yet? Well, here we are. Donald Trump is hanging the picture outside the door of the Oval Office. And everyone is going to recognize, even this CNN reporter, who he called nasty. We got to recognize, if Donald Trump calls you nasty, well, you the lowest of the low. This man is a germaphobe. He don't like nastiness. And he puts you in that category, in that box, along with your network. Y'all, let me know what you think about this and Donald Trump clapping back repeatedly against reporters that he doesn't agree with, against reporters that don't agree with him. But as the commander-in-chief of pettiness, I guess he gets the last say, at least for the next 4 years. We'll see how it works out. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. I'd love to know your thoughts, y'all. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.